Welcome to the show. This is our Premier League roundup discussing the madness in the Premier League that's happened so far. It's halfway through game week 24. It is lunchtime on a Monday. Get your sandwiches and lunches in and listen to two silly people talking. I'm Gary, joined as always by Alex. How are you doing?
Speak for yourself with the silly people. Thank you very much. Uh, I'm doing well. Thank you very much. I hope all you guys watching are doing well as well.
Yes, today we've got an action-packed show. We've got three topics from the Premier League we thought are burning questions for us to react to. And going straight into it, Man City ran out 3-0 winners against Tottenham. And that star man, once again, Ilkay Gundogan, who scored 2 goals, got 1 assist. And that's 10 goals in the last 10 Premier League appearances and 11 goals so far this season. My question to you is, was that the best Gundogan performance we have seen this Premier League season or in any Premier League season for him? And if you think the season ended today, does he have a chance of winning the player of the season?
Okay, so your first question is, was it his best performance so far? I think the only way I can really look at this is really from an attacking output. And if you remember, against the West Brom game, he got 2 goals. But in this game, he got the 2 goals, but he also got the penalty, which you credited him with an assist, which he does get an assist for that officially by the Premier League, right?
I think they might have taken it away, but on Fantasy League, he got me an assist, so that's the most important thing for me. Yeah.
So I think for me, and when you consider the caliber of the opponent, West Brom versus Tottenham, 2 very different teams, and I think for me that was the best I've seen him play. He played really, really well, and the thing that impressed me more than anything is it's the movement. It's not necessarily the finishes he does. The way he finds space in the box is absolutely incredible. He was doing it time and again against Tottenham.
And then player of the season votes, do you think he has a chance?
Okay, so here's my thing, right? He only started kicking on from early December. So for that first half of the season, he was, I don't want to say quieter. He was playing a different role. He was still in that kind of deep lying playmaker sort of role for City. And he's been doing it for half a season. He's been doing it consistently now for, 12 game weeks. If he maintains this form, then yes. But I'd say up until now, there's been other players who've been more consistent across the whole 24 game weeks. Not many, but there have been other players who've been slightly more consistent for me. Maybe my early shout might be maybe Martinez of Aston Villa.
Wow. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. For me, I think if Manchester City win the Premier League, and it's looking highly likely that they will, people are going to associate this winning run, the winning run that sort of clinched it, left everyone in their dust, and 16 wins in a row, and heck, it could go even further against Arsenal. The main man has been Ilkay Gundogan, and he's been super clinical. He stepped up when Aguero, Jesus, Kevin De Bruyne has been out, and you could say that Pep Guardiola, he's changed the tactics to allow Gundogan to flourish. But yeah, if you're asking me, right now he is Manchester City's best player. You compare 11 goals for him versus Sterling's got 8 goals, 5 assists. Is great contribution, but yeah, I just feel like Gundogan's finishing. He's just the best player for Man City for me right now, and. If the Premier League finished right now, he'd be up against Mo Salah with 17 goals, which is absolutely insane. You got Harry Kane with 13 goals and 11 assists. That's crazy as well. And Bruno Fernandes with 14 goals and 9 assists. And
I think you've got to throw Jack Grealish and maybe Stones into that mix as well.
Ruben Diaz. It's usual that you give the player of the season to the team that wins it. So. But I think Mo Salah's 17 goals pretty outrageous.
So, guys, that is the first topic done. The 2 questions are: was that Gundogan's best performance so far this season, and is he an early frontrunner for Player of the Season? Guys, let us know what you think on topic 1 in the comments.
Okay, my next topic here. Southampton. They lost 2-1 to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Scoring first, Southampton did, with Danny Ings with a beautiful, beautiful volley. But we have a bit of controversy here. Wolves came back into it with a very dubious penalty award, which basically swung the momentum in Wolves' favour, who eventually won the game 2-1. Do you think that was a penalty? And 6 losses in a row now. Do you think Ralph Hasenhüttl is on the firing line?
Okay, so the first one, the penalty. This Southampton fans are going to be upset with me. Personally, I think it's a penalty. And the reason why is because Bertrand, he's put his arms up like this, and what he's done, he's been really unlucky. It's really unfortunate, but by the letter of the law, it is a penalty. And he's turned, and as he's turned, his left hand has come out a little bit, which, is... Personally, I think the rule should change, and that should just be that's a natural motion. You can't help that. What's he supposed to do? Just because he's moving, he's running at the same time. Is he supposed to run like that? He's turned, and as he's done that, his left arm's come out in a completely natural way. But as he's done that, the ball has then struck his arm, and he's very close to the ball, so he's got no chance to move it out of the way. And by the letter of the law, it is a penalty. So as far as I'm concerned, as by the current rules, it's a penalty. Here is why I think Southampton fans have every right to be aggrieved. If we rewind, do you remember the Matty Cash incident?
Yeah.
Matty Cash's one is worse. That is a worse handball because Bertrand didn't move his hand to the ball. He's twisting away. Matty Cash, in some way or form, did move his hand to the ball. So for me, I would be absolutely fuming through the roof with the officiating of their games because for me, they're both either they're both given or they're both not given. It's the inconsistency which I would be pulling my hair out at.
Yeah, no, I've looked at that incident quite a few times. I think 10 times in total. And my initial reaction was if I was the defender, I'd be really, really annoyed if that was given against me as a penalty. Because obviously he didn't mean to intentionally handball it. He's trying to. It's a bit annoying how he's trying to shirk away from it. He's not going towards it. And in this day and age, you basically have to face up to it and have your arms by your side. I don't like he tried to move away. But looking at it more, I feel like his hand movement moves upwards towards the ball, and that is why it's a penalty. And in this day and age, that's why it's a penalty that was awarded. And that's kind of worrying because 6 losses in a row now for Ralph Hasenhüttl. Do I think his job's on the line? I think if any manager loses 6 Premier League games in a row, there should be some serious questions. If I was in charge at Southampton, maybe another 2 losses, and I would seriously think about changing a manager. I think with Southampton, basically, I think Southampton have run its course with Ralph Hasenhüttl. They know the limit of where you can take Southampton. So I think if Southampton want to be really ambitious, I think they look towards a long-term change in the summer.
I actually completely disagree. I think we've seen the potential of the Southampton manager. We saw earlier in the season, he can put together a really good run. And I think, don't get me wrong, they are currently on a horrendous run, but I think knee-jerk reactions aren't always the best. We know that he can get Southampton firing and, winning, numerous games in a row. It's not as if he's just come in and just started losing. And, if we've learned anything from, say, Watford, who are on their 47th manager of the year, knee-jerk reactions with managers, it doesn't necessarily work. It's unfortunate that really Chelsea have also, but they also have to remember Chelsea have thrown a lot of money on it, but Chelsea also proved that it can work as well if you spend enough. So for me, I would say stick with him for now. And it's not an easy job, the Southampton job. You have to remember they're a club who their business model is to sell some of their better players. So it's constantly kind of rotating and constantly trying to get the best out of a team, which is constantly kind of being picked apart a little bit. I mean, there's even rumours with Ings with he's got a few years left on his contract, with big clubs coming in for Ings. That'd be another key player out of that squad. there's a lot of managers who might not want to be part of that business model.
Yeah. I agree. I think the limit with Southampton is maybe like mid-table, just below mid-table-ish finish with Ralph Hasenhuttl. I'm just saying if Southampton want to be really ambitious and look upwards towards that, then they'll have to look for a change.
Yeah, I do get what you mean. I think for me the biggest problem is like kind of their business model rather than the manager. But let's wait and see. I think you was probably right when you said it. I think 2 more games, and then there's definitely going to be people upstairs at Southampton asking the questions that we're asking right now. So, guys, that is topic 2. So the 2 questions for you to answer in the comments are: number 1, should that have been a penalty when Semedo?
Yeah.
Semedo. I get
Semedo.
scared every time I say a name now. I get scared. Struck from about 6 yards out, and it hit Bertrand's arm. Was that a penalty? And the second one, Hasenhuttl. Did I get that one right? I feel like I did.
Yes, you got that one right.
As soon as I'm not recording myself, I get all these names right. I promise you. Hasenhuttl, is he under pressure at Southampton? Is he a few games away from the boot?
On to the very last discussion. Now, Liverpool lost 3-1 to Leicester in what was a mad 7.5 minutes. After Liverpool dominated and looked like they were going to win the game outright for the first 70 minutes. Alisson again coming up and absolutely ballsing stuff up for 2 games in a row now. My question to you, Alex, is: do you think Alisson should be benched for the next game? And do you think Liverpool really are at risk of not making the Champions League?
So, Alisson, will he be benched for the Merseyside derby? For me, personally, I wouldn't. I mean, we've seen both when Adrian and, is it Keller? The young Irish goalkeeper they have. Both times when they've come in, they've been very inconsistent. And don't get me wrong, I know Alisson is on a rough patch at the moment, but as the famous phrase goes, form is temporary, class is permanent. I think you would rather have like kind of a half-firing Alisson than maybe, a potential like mess up by their number 2 or number 3 goalkeeper. So for me, Alisson's a little bit undroppable. If a few games down the row he's still making these mistakes, then I would maybe ask that question. But I think at this moment in time, you've got one of the biggest games on the calendar for them. And if there's any chance that Alisson could be on top form, then you've got to play him.
Yeah, I mean, I know Alisson has been going a bit crazy, but I also attribute that to the fact that the defense is absolutely makeshift. There's not a lot of confidence in that back 4, and that maybe goes to the goalkeeper as well. Yeah, would you like your goalkeeper, showing leadership and taking charge? But you also got the fact that the midfield is makeshift as well, so they can't control the midfield as well as they used to, that we've seen from Liverpool, and be able to game manage. They did really well for 70 minutes. The other option is, I think that if I'm not wrong, their second goalkeeper is Adrian, and you know how error prone that goalkeeper can be. So it's very stressful. I wouldn't put Adrian back in for a Merseyside derby. I feel like it's too much. Champions League places, though.
I'll tell you what, before you get into that, I just want to piggyback on what you say. I think it's a very good point you make about his confidence with that back line. Because you have to think about it. Van Dijk, one of the best defenders in the world last season, and he's a leader. He's vocal. So you lose that, and then you lose the other 2 down the pecking order. It must be very, very hard for Alisson to like kind of deal with that situation and have a completely new back line. So I just think that's a very good point. I just wanted to piggyback on.
Thank you. I also think that the title is out of the reach right now, and Klopp, he should just stick with his best players, and because you need to motivate them again for the next season to really start another title challenge. But Champions League, because Liverpool are so talented, such a good team, people would just nail them on for a Champions League spot. No one ever thought that it was not a possibility going into the season. But at the end of the day, the defense is makeshift, and it's going to be like that for the next couple of weeks. And the fact that you got Leicester winning as well, beating them, and you got Man United. Okay, they're not getting the greatest results at the moment, but they're still putting lots of pressure on Liverpool. And there's a possibility that this may happen, which seems weird. More than you wouldn't have expected this at the beginning of the season.
Oh, 100% not. And I think to answer your question as to do I think they will get Champions League football, I don't know, because this new kind of form, this downward turn in form is quite new for Liverpool, and I'm not sure how they're going to react. I would say the saving grace for Liverpool is this season. So many teams have been inconsistent. It just takes a small run of form to get back up there, and maybe to get as high as second. It's just that Liverpool kind of on a downward slope a little bit, and teams around them, I wouldn't say on an upward slope, but they're just doing a little bit better than Liverpool. So it's difficult to say whether or not they'll get into Champions League. I do think they have the quality to do it. I think they have more quality than the teams above them at the moment. But in this, this crazy season, a few of the teams around them could go through a purple patch and absolutely fly past them. But it could also be Liverpool will do that. We just don't know.
Yeah, really stressful. I feel like only the attackers, the front line, and the fullbacks are operating currently for Liverpool. So it's going to be tough no matter what.
So that was topic 3. That was the third and final topic. The 2 questions are: should Alisson be benched for the Merseyside derby? And do you think Liverpool are going to get into the Champions League places?
Okay, that is all for the Premier League roundup here at Fickle Sports. If you could, give us a like, subscribe, it will really help us out. And we will see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
When the seagulls follow the trawler, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.